Good morning students. We will continue with the lesson acids, bases and salts. So in the previous lecture we have discussed that mixing of acid or base with water results in the decrease in concentration of hydronium or hydroxide ions per unit volume. Okay, it means that dilution decreases the concentration of hydronium or hydroxide ions in the solution. Okay. Also we have discussed that quantitatively can we find out the amount of this hydrogen ion? Yes, we can find out by using the universal indicator. Okay, so what is universal indicator? Universal indicator is nothing but the mixture of several indicators which shows the different colors at different concentrations. Okay, so we have also discussed that about the pH scale. Now what is pH scale? pH scale is used for measuring the hydrogen ion concentration, and it ranges in between 0 to 14, where 7 is the neutral point and 7 to 0 it is acidic, means hydrogen ion concentration it increases. Okay, and 7 to 14 it shows the basic nature in which the hydrogen ion decreases, that concentration decreases. It means that we can say that hydroxide ion concentration increases. Okay, so all these points we have discussed. Today we are going to discuss about the importance of pH in everyday life. So how this pH is important in our life, or what are the points we are going to discuss. Okay, so in this first point is that, are plants and animals pH sensitive? Yes. The answer is yes. All the living organisms, they can survive in the specific range of pH change. If there is a pH change or change in pH, then the life becomes, or the survival of the living organisms becomes difficult. Okay, even our body also works within a specific pH range, that is 7 to 7.8. Okay, so that much change is acceptable. Now in case of this living organisms, as we are discussing, children, acid rain. About acid rain you all are knowing that what is meant by acid rain? Acid rain is nothing but when the different gases which are present in the atmosphere, like sulfur dioxide is there, sulfur trioxide is there, nitrogen dioxide is there. So all these gases, when they reacts or mixes with the water, H2O, then there is a formation of different acids. Okay, so for example SO3, when it reacts with the water, there is a formation of H2SO4, like sulfuric acid. Okay, and these acids, when they are formed, they come along with the rainwater. Okay, and when this acid rain, it mixes with the water bodies, different water bodies. For example, river. For example, that acid rain gets mixed with the river water. Then what happens? As acid rain is mixed in the river water, the pH of the river water, it gets lowered. Okay, well, how it will be? Maybe 5.6, or it becomes acidic in nature, that river water. And due to this, what happens? The aquatic life forms, means the plants and animals which are present in the water, their survival becomes difficult. Okay, so that is why this pH change, or the change in pH, these aquatic life forms, they can't tolerate, and that is why the survival of this aquatic life forms becomes difficult in the change of pH water, of that river water. So all the plants and animals, they are pH sensitive. This is the first point. Okay, then the second point is that about the pH of soil. Okay, now pH of soil, as you all know children, that different crops are grown in different region. Why? Because the soil which is good for that particular crop, in that only the healthy crop will be grown. So that is why this different regions we are taking or cultivating the different crops. Okay, so for the healthy growth of the plant, the specific pH is required, range of pH is there. So now how if we want to check the pH of the soil which is present in our backyard or in the region where we live. So how to check the pH? One small activity is given in the textbook, that you have to take that soil sample, then take it in the test tube, add water into it. Suppose you are taking 2 gram or 5 gram of soil in the test tube, you can add 10 ml of water into it. Then you have to shake it well, properly mix that soil in the water, and that water, which is like soil water, you have to filter it, and then collect the filtrate in the another test tube, and with the help of pH paper or the universal indicator, you can check the pH of that soil. So you will get the pH of the soil, whether the soil is at neutral level or whether it is acidic in nature or what. Okay, so this is the way where we can check the pH of the soil. So pH of the soil, if it is we find that it is acidic in nature, then you all are knowing that farmers, when the acidic pH is there, then they are mixing the basic substances into the soil. Okay, so this way they are trying to make this soil neutral. Okay, so the different region, different pH soil we are getting. Okay, and as per the requirement of that, only the crops are cultivated into it. Okay, children. So this is one more point. Then the next point is that pH in our digestive system. So everybody knows that in our stomach the hydrochloric acid is produced. Yes or no? Yes. So if we are not having our breakfast or lunch on time, then the acid which is produced in our stomach, it remains unutilized. It will not be utilized, right? And that time what we feel? We feel like we say that acidity is there. What does it mean that we feel like stomach ache is there? Because that hydrochloric acid is not utilized, because you have not taken your breakfast or your lunch on time, and that is why this hydrochloric acid, which is to be utilized for the digestion of the food, it remains as it is in the stomach, and that is why the acidic level is increased in our body, and that is why we feel acidic. We feel like maybe nausea, like or acidity is there. Then what we do? We are taking the basic substances, antacids, which we call it as a antacids. So antacids tablets we are getting in the medical shops that we take. So antacid, one of the antacid is milk of magnesia, that is magnesium hydroxide. Okay, so this antacids, which are basic in nature, they neutralize this acidity, and that is why we get relief, or we get rid of from this acidity, and we feel relaxed. Okay, so this is also one of the point, that is pH in our digestive system. Okay, children. So all these points one by one we are discussing, on which in the examination the questions can be asked, theoretical questions can be asked. So the next point is pH in case change of it causes the tooth decay. Okay, change in the pH causes the tooth decay. So how it is? Now everybody knows that our teeth are having a protective layer or the covering, that is called as the enamel. Okay, it is nothing but the calcium phosphate layer. Okay, so calcium phosphate, it is called as the enamel, which is the hardest substance, and which is present on our teeth, which is like a protective layer for us. So, and this enamel or this calcium phosphate, it is not getting dissolved in the water, children. So it gets dissolved in the acid. It is not dissolved in the water, but it gets dissolved in the acid. Then when this tooth decay start, when actually the pH of the mouth is lower, like below 5.6 is goes, below 5.5 it goes, that time the pH of our mouth, as we call it as acidic nature, our pH is changing to acidic level. So that time our tooth decay, we can say that it can start. Now how the acid is produced in the mouth? We know that if the food remains, or food particles which are remaining in the mouth, and they get entangled in the teeth, so when the bacteria which are present in our surrounding or in the mouth, they get digested. This food is digested by them, and during this digestion, this bacteria, when they eat this food, during this digestion process, the acid is produced. and that acid is remaining in the mouth. Okay, so that is why it is always advised that you have to brush your teeth twice a day. Whenever you are, especially you are eating the sweet substances, that time to compulsory you have to clean your teeth. Okay, so that is why your whatever food particles are remaining in the teeth, they will be removed from your mouth. If they remain there, then the bacteria attack on them, and in their digestion of that food, the bacteria produces the acid, which is lowering the pH definitely. And what happens due to the acid production in the mouth, the enamel, that is the calcium phosphate layer, calcium phosphate gets dissolved in this acid. Okay, and that is why our protective layer or protective covering is removed, and that is why then the tooth decay can start. Okay, so that is why it is very important to take care of the teeth, to take care of the enamel. And how to take care of it? By brushing the teeth. You can after eating the sweet substances especially, definitely you have to brush your teeth, you have to clean, take care of your teeth. Okay children, so this was one of the point. Then the last point, pH in everyday life, or the importance of pH in everyday life, is the self-defense by animals and plants through the chemical warfare. Okay, so in that one example is given, that is bee stings. When the honey bee stings, you know that it injects the formic acid in the skin. Okay, so because of that we feel like it causes the irritation to the skin. Okay children, so what happens, even at home also we are doing the remedy, that baking soda we are applying. If paste of baking soda if we are applying there, which is basic in nature obviously, so we get relief. Why? Because that acid gets neutralized by this baking soda. Okay, and that is why we feel a little bit relaxed, or we get the relief from this. So this honey bee, when it stings, it injects the formic acid in the skin, and that is why it causes the pain or irritation. Okay children, even nettle leaves also, when we are passing by the nettle plant, that time the nettle leaves, if they are touched to our skin, then the same like it also injects the methanoic acid in the skin, and we feel again the pain and irritation. Okay, so nature also has given one remedy actually. Nearby this nettle plant, there is a growth of one dock plant. Okay, so that is dock plant, and when we we are feeling the pain or irritation, if the nettle leaves are injected in our skin, that time if we will apply this dock plant leaves or that crushed leaves, then we feel relaxed. Why? Because it is basic in nature, and automatically the nature only has given us the remedy to neutralize this acid which is injected because of the nettle leaves in our skin. Okay, so this way there are the natural warfare phenomena also. So all these points are very important, because theoretical questions, as I have told you, the questions can be asked in the examination on this part. Okay, in the laboratory we are going to find out the pH of different solutions, as I have told you. So you should know these points, or the pH as well as importance of pH in everyday life. I think this part is clear to you. This was the today's lecture. Thank you all and have a good day.